so what we're going to do in this one is go over the data collection for this whole backtesting engine. So if you recall from the last video, the first intro video, we have a bunch of components: the backtesting engine, the data collection, the system strategy, and then here on the left, essentially what we have is the user interface. Now, we are just going to explain and walk through the code for this one here, the data collection. Yep. So here we are. So we're here and we've got the three main components. We've got the data collection. We've got, so just drew some pretty diagrams before, that diagram you saw before, and then the strategy component right here, and then also the backtester, right? So now let's have a little bit of a deep dive into the data collection. So the data collection is just a module, and so here you can see you got an init file, right? It's a Python module. And where the meat of everything, where all the stuff is happening, is in collector.py. So, yep, that's looking good. So it's in collector.py. So we're going to make a class here, candle data collector. So candle data collector accepts a exchange name. So Binance, for example, will be the default. And this is just in accordance with the CCXT library, right? This beautiful library here. Go check it out. Go give it a little bit of a Google. CCXT is awesome. It really shortcuts a lot of your things. So we do a little bit of formatting here because we want the exchange name is in lowercase. And then we initialize the exchange, and then it's sort of a little bit detailed here. So this is one way to initialize, those CCXT exchanges, and you specify it's going to be a sandbox or the rate limiting and whatnot. So we're going to get kicked off by the exchange. So once we've initiated that, we keep that in self.exchange. Right, cool. So that is that. We have our self.exchange. That's all we need so far. So that we've got that. Now, here we've got...
This video is brought to you by Coder Trader, my school community. So we teach coders to trade and traders to code. Build, test, deploy automated trading systems like they do in the industry and like they do in institutions. Okay, now let's get back to the video.
Get available symbols, and what that'll do is just load every symbol there on the exchange. So that'll be like 2,000 or something like that. Now get available timeframes. So those are like the 1 hour, 5 minute, 1 minute things. And then we want to pass some of the dates. Those are just helper functions. Now let's go to the meat of the code. So where everything is happening is collect candles. So what's happening in collect candles? We load the markets and get all the symbols. Yep. And so we assert that is not none, just a little bit of nice error checking. And then we have specified some symbol here, right? So what we're doing here is we're checking that this symbol is in the list of all possible symbols on the exchange. That's awesome. Now, great. If it's available, that's going to be awesome. And then we also do the same with a time frame, right? We make sure the time frame we specified, so that could be an hour, 1 minute, is going to be one of the time frames the exchange accepts. Now we will sort of have this and this as none. And what we do this. So this is a little bit of a funky one, but we do this iterative game, right? Where we have a start time and we have an end time, and then we only collect so much data from the exchange. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take that, and then we're going to look at the last piece of data there, and then look at the time frame, and then collect the next piece of data. So because maybe we're collecting a month worth of data and we can't collect it all at once. So that's a very common pattern. We sort of chunk that and we get the last bit, find the timestamp, and then according to that timestamp, we adjust how much we're going to collect the next time. And we'll just do this iteratively. So you can see that here now. My LSB is having its own little weird thing here. So it actually works. It works, just the LSB is a bit funky. Comment below if you know what an LSB is. So we fetch the candles, right? The candles using this method in the CCXT library. And then essentially what we do is we're adding this. So we get the candles and we add it to our all candles list here. And then we do that crazy thing with so then we check if we need a break out of it. So what this says here is if we're right at the end of whatever data we need to collect, just break out of the loop or limit has been hit. next, so and then here, this is updating the timestamp. So when we return something from CCXT, we get timestamp, open, high, low, close, volume. And so what we're doing is we're extracting the last one, and then we're taking the first. So out of the last one, we're taking the first element there, which is the timestamp. We're incrementing it by 1, and these are all milliseconds, so it'll be 1 more millisecond. And then it'll go back up to here and do that all again. And then what we actually do now is, once we are out of that loop, we take all the information in all candles, right? And we shove that in a data frame. And then the data frame, we just make sure everything is in milliseconds, and we convert it to, it's in UTC time. That's because, daylight savings and stuff. It's good to have things in UTC time. Then sometimes there's a little bit of overlap if you didn't quite implement this algorithm correctly here. So we remove the duplicates. We don't want duplicate timestamps here, and we sort by the timestamp values. Great. And then we just say it successfully did it. Cool. And then we just print a success message. So essentially, if we run that, right? So if we run that, we will get some data. And now I've provided a very nice CLI here. So homework, I want you to download this, git clone this, and try install it. Run the CLI, right? Now this is really easy to run the CLI. All you've got to do is go Python CLI, and make sure your syspath is correct. It's pointing, you're inside the data collection folder. And then you pick a symbol, right? And then you pick an exchange, you pick your time frame there, and you pick your start date, and then you pick you could pick your end date here, and that's it's really easy, right? It's just there. I've just given it to you essentially. And then what will happen is it'll collect data and then store the data here. It'll store this. So see, it's not this is all hidden from GitHub. So it'll store the data here. And then this was some data I collected from Bybit before. So this looks like it is 1 minute data. 1 minute data. So I was collecting 1 minute data, and I got all this. So it'll look like this. So homework is understand what the hell is going on here, right? Understand how we collect the data, and we collect and save, and then use the CLI to run it. And then also, if the CLI is a bit tricky, here's an example of implementing that. So that is the homework. So do the homework before watching the next video.